The Endless Night. Shadows of the Nameless Valley, Episode 6, Part 7. The blue fire consumed everything. For one impossible moment, Andre saw nothing. No forest, no sky, no fissure, no darkness, only light. Endless, blinding light stretching across eternity. It felt as though reality itself had shattered, as though every law governing the world had been erased. Then came the silence. A silence so complete that Andre could hear his own heartbeat. Slow, distant, unreal. He couldn't tell if seconds had passed, or centuries. Time no longer existed. There was only the light and the feeling of falling through something vast and ancient. Then the light vanished. Andre hit the ground hard. Pain shot through his body. Cold air filled his lungs. For several seconds he lay motionless, trying to understand what had happened. Slowly, he opened his eyes. The clearing was gone. The stone circle was gone. The forest was gone. Everything was gone. He stood on a barren plain beneath an unfamiliar sky. Black stars burned overhead. Strange constellations stretched across the darkness. None of them belonged to Earth. A deep sense of wrongness filled the air. This place wasn't merely another world. It felt older, far older, like a forgotten layer beneath reality itself. Andre slowly stood. His legs trembled. His vision remained blurry. Nearby, Maria was beginning to wake. Several other survivors lay scattered across the plain. Not many, perhaps 7 in total. Of the 12 who had entered the forest, only 7 remained. The others were nowhere to be seen. Maria looked around. Her face turned pale. Where are we? Andre already knew the answer. He simply didn't want to say it aloud. The fissure, the red sky beneath the valley, the impossible stars. He had seen this place before, in dreams, in visions, in the crack beneath reality. We crossed over. The words barely escaped his lips. Nobody spoke after that, because everyone understood what he meant. They were no longer in the valley. They were no longer in their world. The landscape stretched endlessly in every direction. Black stone, gray dust, distant mountains rising like jagged teeth against the horizon. No wind, no birds, no signs of life. And yet, Andre could feel something watching, a presence, the same presence he had sensed beneath the valley, except now it felt stronger, closer, much closer. The ancient sleeper was here. This was its domain, its kingdom, its prison, or perhaps its birthplace. Andre wasn't sure which possibility frightened him more. A low sound echoed across the plain. The survivors immediately froze. The noise resembled breathing. Slow, heavy, monstrous. The sound came from somewhere beyond the mountains. And each breath seemed capable of shaking the world itself. Maria whispered, "Please tell me that's not what I think it is." Andre couldn't, because he suspected exactly what it was. The creature wasn't trapped beneath the valley. The valley had merely been a doorway, a lock, a barrier. The true entity existed here, in this place, waiting, dreaming, trying to return. The breathing continued, slow, rhythmic, ancient. Then something moved in the distance, far beyond the mountains. At first it appeared to be part of the landscape, a dark shape against the horizon. Then it shifted. Andre's blood froze. The mountain was moving, not all of it, part of it. A colossal silhouette slowly rising beyond the peaks. Impossible in size. Larger than anything that should exist. For a moment, it blocked entire sections of the strange sky. Nobody spoke. Nobody could. The scale defied comprehension. Even from dozens of miles away, the thing appeared enormous. If it stood any closer, it would dominate the horizon. The realization struck Andre immediately. The eyes beneath the fissure. They had only seen a tiny fraction of it. A tiny fraction. One of the survivors began crying. A young man named Radu. His mind had finally broken. No, He backed away, shaking uncontrollably. No, no, no. The others watched helplessly. Fear had reached a level beyond reason, a level beyond sanity. Radu suddenly turned and ran, straight across the plain, away from the group, away from the distant mountains, away from the impossible silhouette. Andre shouted after him. But it was useless. The young man never looked back. He simply ran, desperately, wildly, like prey fleeing a predator. Then the ground beneath him opened, instantly, without warning. A crack appeared. Black hands erupted from below, hundreds of them, thin, skeletal, shadow-like. They seized Radu's legs, his arms, his throat. The scream that followed echoed across the plain. The group rushed forward, but they were too far away. The hands dragged him downward, into the darkness beneath the earth. Within seconds he was gone. The crack sealed itself, leaving no trace behind. The plain became silent once more. Nobody moved, nobody spoke, because they all understood. This world was alive, and it knew they were here. Hours passed, or what felt like hours. The survivors walked. There was little choice. Remaining still felt dangerous. Every instinct told them they needed to keep moving. Toward what, however, remained unclear. The breathing continued in the distance, sometimes louder, sometimes quieter, but never gone, always present, like a sleeping god beyond the horizon. Eventually they reached a ridge overlooking a vast valley. The sight stopped them cold. Below stretched an enormous city, or what remained of one. Ruins covered the landscape. Black towers, collapsed bridges, crumbling structures larger than mountains. The remains of a civilization unlike anything humanity had ever built. Andre stared in disbelief. Someone had lived here. Long ago, before the ruins, before the darkness, before the sleeper. The implications were horrifying, because civilizations do not become ruins without a reason. Andre feared he already knew the reason. As they descended toward the city, strange symbols became visible on the stone. The same symbols from the monastery, the church, the black mirror, the stone circle, everywhere, thousands upon thousands of carvings, warnings, records, messages. An entire civilization had left evidence behind, trying to tell future generations something important, something urgent, something terrifying. Maria pointed toward a massive structure near the center of the ruins. Unlike the others, it remained partially intact. A colossal black tower. Its upper sections disappeared into darkness overhead. The building dwarfed everything around it, even the mountains. And somehow, Andre knew, that was where they needed to go. The breathing stopped, instantly. The silence that followed felt wrong, dangerous, predatory. Every survivor noticed. Every survivor froze. For the first time since arriving in the strange world, the distant breathing had ceased completely. Andre's stomach tightened. Something had changed, something significant. Then the sky moved. Not the clouds, not the stars, the sky itself. A vast shadow passed overhead. The group looked upward and saw an eye. One gigantic eye opening in the darkness above. Watching, studying, awake. The ancient sleeper had found them. The eye blinked once, slowly, and a voice filled the entire world, a voice so vast that it seemed to emerge from reality itself. You carry the last key. The survivors stared upward in terror. The eye continued watching, unblinking, ancient, infinite, hungry, and somewhere deep within the ruins, something answered. A second voice, older, weaker, but unmistakably hostile. A voice that had been waiting for centuries, waiting for someone to return, waiting for the final chapter to begin. And as the black tower trembled in the distance, Andre realized a terrible truth. The sleeper was not the only thing trapped in this world. Something else had survived here, something that hated it, something that might be even older. End of Part 7. To be continued in Part 8.